Hi, everyone. All eyes on Beryl as it makes another landfall, a powerful one today in Jamaica. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justus. Let's get right to it. Beryl is a very strong storm. You can see those outer bands moving into Jamaica right now. The actual eye wall does look to cross over into parts of southern Jamaica today. We're talking about winds that could be over 100 miles per hour with this landfall, and it would be the second of what could be 4 or 5 landfalls with this system as we continue to monitor it. It's kind of defied the odds all the way through, and there are now some indications that once it gets out into the Gulf, it could re-strengthen to a Category 1 hurricane. Most of the models still keep it in Mexico, but Texas could certainly get some rain out of this. Let me show you what I know right now. We're watching a Jamaica landfall today. From this infrared satellite, you can see that eye wall, that pink bright color right there. That northern side of the eye wall is the strongest. And I say northern, when you look at it from Beryl's perspective, Beryl's actually heading to the west. So the east is the beast is kind of the saying, the west is best. That east side of the wall, from Beryl's perspective, the right side, that white quadrant, that northeast quadrant is going to be the worst, and that's actually what will move right over parts of Jamaica. So my prayers are with folks in Jamaica right now. You need to be, if you're watching, if you have family down that way, sharing this with them, need to be getting into where you're going to be through the day. This will be rough through the evening hours. Then it moves very quickly over to these islands. That'd be Grand Cayman, Cayman Islands. Maybe not taking a complete direct landfall where the actual eye wall crosses over land, but it will get very, very close to doing so. National Hurricane Center's official forecast calls for this to remain a Category 4 through Jamaica. Then as it heads through the Cayman Islands today as a Category 3. Folks, I cannot stress enough how abnormal this is. A Category 1 hurricane would be abnormal when you factor in the fact that this is a major hurricane, Cat 4 right now. We're just kind of breaking odds. Now, here's the deal. This is in some of the warmest waters in the world right now. And when you factor in the fact that we've got some wind shear coming through, this high pressure is centered right over the southeast, which is why we're getting such nice weather in the southeast. However, that high is also presenting some wind. It's what's steering Beryl. Now, when it starts to go on that curved side of the high is when wind starts to push on it a little bit more. So this should continue to weaken. Especially when it gets into some land interaction, tropical storm. Then the Hurricane Center has it getting back into Category 1 status before making landfall in Mexico. Now, let me show you the models. What do the models say since overnight? Okay, they're kind of in agreement here with Jamaica as a certainty through today, and then this moves it through the Cayman Islands tonight on approach between Cancun and Cozumel, somewhere in that direction. And then it crosses over into the Gulf of Mexico by the time we get into Friday. Actually, that would be Saturday. This is Saturday back in the Gulf of Mexico. Sunday approaching Mexico, maybe as far as the Texas-Mexico line, but the majority of this looks to be in Mexico. You can see the models tonight have trended a little bit further to the south. You've got most of them, with the exception of 2, making landfall in Mexico. As far as the intensity is concerned, it will continue to crash. Now, that's the expectation. That's the hope. Now, Beryl has continued to sort of defy odds throughout this entire storm, so we're going to have to watch that closely. Does it indeed weaken as we expect it to? I think it will at this point. By the time it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, probably a Cat 1 or a tropical storm. Let's time this out. If you have family, friends watching right now in and around Jamaica, surrounding areas, this is going to be a rough day. I mean, we're talking about winds in excess of 100 miles per hour. Beautiful vacation destination. Many of you probably go down there if you're not watching from there right now. Then this heads toward the Cayman Islands. This model, the European, does take a direct hit with the Cayman Islands, so that would be the third landfall as we go toward tomorrow morning. So Jamaica today, Cayman Islands tonight, and then moving toward Cancun or Cozumel, somewhere in between, Thursday night. That'd be tomorrow night into Friday. So Friday morning, making landfall in Mexico. Then it's back out over open water where the European kind of has it getting its sea legs once more, if you will, becoming possibly a hurricane again before moving deeper into land here. So right in there, probably making landfall sometime Sunday night back into Mexico. Some of the models do have that a little bit further north toward the Texas line, but most of the models keep it south into Mexico, and none of them show interactions in the Carolinas. What about that system behind it? Now, it's looking a lot better on satellite imagery today. These areas, exact same areas, from Grenada south toward Trinidad and Tobago, had tremendous rain, had the significant damage from Beryl, now dealing with significant rain. Now, it is getting a little bit of distance from Beryl. Now, I told you yesterday what's happening with this storm is the fact that Beryl is so strong at upwelled water. It's called upwelling. It's like the suction brings up colder water from the bottom parts of the Atlantic to the surface, and that colder water is what is leading to this secondary system not really having much to work off of. So as it moves through, the more distance Beryl gets, the more the ocean water has time to mix up. You know, the ocean's always moving and mixing up, so that warm water is going to come back. So this system, I wouldn't sleep on it. I'm not overly concerned about it. Unfortunately, it's providing rain for areas that probably have roof damage, that have significant flooding already. So we need to, continue to pray for these folks down here, one, for recovery, but two, be watching out for this system. National Hurricane Center has it a very low chance, 20% in the near term. But I would be more concerned, okay, what about right in here? Does it take advantage of Beryl being gone by 4 or 5 days and possibly try to develop into something? I just don't want to let our guard down because we know that this area is ripe for energy with this right now. The models are in pretty good agreement with this kind of scooting off toward the west and then fizzling. Some of the models here take whatever it is, rain or whatnot, kind of into the Gulf, similar to Beryl. I mean, the steering currents are rather locked in. Let's look at what the European model is showing as far as development. Of course, Beryl's out front. The secondary system's right in there. It's not optimistic. In fact, it kind of takes identical tracks with Beryl. I mean, the steering currents are no mystery this time, thankfully, with this. So, again, to recap things, folks, we are looking at a landfall with Beryl, possibly a Cat 4 landfall in Jamaica today. Tonight in the Cayman Islands, Cat 3, Cat 4. Then it sets its sights set on Mexico, Cancun to Cozumel. And then it makes possibly a final landfall in Mexico by Sunday night, Monday. Then we're done with Beryl. What could happen? What could change? Okay, so what we'll be watching for today is, does Beryl's intensity start to go down after Jamaica? We expect it to. We hope it will. But this storm, again, has defied odds all the way through. So does it weaken on time? That's what I'll be watching. Does the steering currents map out? Now, the stronger the system is, the more north it could go. So that could increase Texas impacts. If it continues to weaken like we expect, weaker goes west, stronger goes north. We'll have to iron all that out. So that's what we'll be developing on today. But my prayers are with you folks in Jamaica. We'll continue to watch it for you and have much more on WYFF News 4.